Never have I actually thought Trump was my daddy. And Kamala is not our mommy. Now, I realize Drew Barrymore has an effed up mom who put her into the spotlight at this young age and let her do drugs and drink when she was, I think, in the single digits, or like 12 at the oldest. That's a sickness, right? She's platformed these people. She leaned in and woke. Now she wants to get away with on Bill Maher. If you've changed, then own that. Own how you've changed, how you've seen the error of your ways. How you won't be kneeling down to the transgender cult anymore. And I'll listen to you. A lot of people have evolutions. I will listen to you. Right now, I think you're just saying what you think you need to say to be popular with Bill Maher's audience.
Let's dive straight into this train wreck of an interview. Honestly, I couldn't decide whether to laugh, cringe, or pour myself a stiff drink just to sit through it. Drew Barrymore, yes, the very same Drew Barrymore who once got on her knees in front of Dylan Mulvaney, sat down with Bill Maher, recently thinking this was going to be her big redemption. Spoiler, it was anything but. Before even talking about what went wrong, we need to step back. Drew isn't just any actress. She's Hollywood royalty, a child star who's been in the spotlight practically since birth. But with that spotlight came chaos. By the time most children were still doing homework, she was reportedly drinking and experimenting with drugs. When that doesn't just vanish, it leaves scars. Decades later, you can still see those scars. Drew drifts through Hollywood like a balloon that slipped from a child's hand, floating, directionless, always trying to become whatever she thinks her audience wants. This interview with Bill Maher was supposed to be her moment of honesty. The problem is, you can't be authentic when you don't know who you are. Instead, what we got was awkwardness, hypocrisy, and a crash course in Hollywood doublespeak. That's when Megyn Kelly stepped in, and she didn't just critique Drew, she dismantled her. Kelly tore away the polished mask and showed the contradictions hiding underneath. Brutal, yes, but fair. Here's the setup. Drew nodding along as Maher explained his view on free speech. His point was simple. Under Trump, you could speak your mind. But under Biden, it felt like walking barefoot across a minefield. One wrong word, and your career, your friendships, and your reputation could vanish. And whether you agree with Maher or not, he wasn't wrong. We all saw it happen. People canceled for decade-old tweets. Reputations ruined overnight because they said something the mob didn't like. That wasn't paranoia. That was real.
You have a lot of bravado about what you think is the truth or not. You were doing this before it was so dangerous.
Still dangerous.
And it is just way too dangerous now.
Yeah.
But you're still doing it.
It's slightly less dangerous than it was 2 years ago because we did have a vibe change. And because the Democrats lost so badly in 2024, the blush is off the rose on left-wing censorship and, oh my God, you can't say that. Stop telling me what I can do, what I can say, what I can think, who my heroes are supposed to be. Just get the fuck off.
And here's where Drew completely drops the ball. Wide-eyed, she leans in and says, "Oh, it's still too dangerous to speak your real opinions." Dangerous for who, Drew? Let's not forget, this is the same woman who happily put Kamala Harris on a pedestal and gushed over Dylan Mulvaney like they were saints sent to save the world.
So he's saying what he's always said, to his credit. He's been very consistent. But there you have Drew Barrymore. Drew Barrymore talking about how it's still too dangerous to speak out with your real opinions. So what are her real opinions? Because just like Jimmy Kimmel and Sarah Silverman, she's been fueling the fire of wokeism for years. Who could forget how she humiliated herself next to fake, quote unquote, woman, meaning a man, Dylan Mulvaney, who came on her show and was treated like Jesus.
So where was all this worry about free speech when conservatives were being silenced left and right? Back then, Drew wasn't just sipping the woke Kool-Aid, she was bathing in it. Megyn Kelly, as only she can, called it out directly. Her message, Drew, if you've truly had a change of heart, then own it. Say you were wrong. Admit you bent the knee to the transgender cult and regret it. Admit you're done fueling woke insanity. That would actually earn some respect, but instead, Drew did the Hollywood shuffle, saying whatever she thought Bill Maher's audience wanted to hear. And let's be honest, that's the last crowd on earth interested in more woke nonsense.
Oh my God, there's so much wrong with that clip. It's stomach turning. Leftists need to learn the number one lesson of being happy in life. Do not lean into your problems. Don't lean into crazy. Everyone's had crazy in their lives. The successful, sane ones do not obsess over it, do not want to relive it over and over, do not want to talk about it night and day on their show, do not talk about things like the ground feels safe to me, and they certainly do not literally bend the knee to the cult of transgenderism, Drew, and then talk about how, gee, it feels so dangerous. It's so dangerous, still too dangerous to say how you really feel. About what?
Here's where things get interesting. Maybe Drew really does have doubts about the ideology she's been promoting. Maybe she even regrets kneeling to Dylan Mulvaney on live television. But she's terrified to say it. Why? Because the woke mob never forgives. Step off script, even slightly, and you're finished. Unlike ordinary politics, where people debate and move on, woke culture cancels, drags, and erases you. So instead of honesty, Drew hides behind vague claims that it's dangerous. But here's the truth. If you know what's right and you're too scared to say it, you're complicit. And Drew Barrymore is absolutely complicit. She platformed Kamala Harris. She literally called her Mamala. That isn't growth, that's cringe.
You're in a safe space with Bill. Maybe he should have gotten her down on the floor and she would have said how she really felt. You continuously vote for the party and the people who push that bullshit on us. You, madam, are complicit. You hosted Kamala Harris, who says, we all need to be woke. We need to be woke because we just do. That's your person who you actually had on your program and wanted us to call Mamala.
Politicians aren't our parents, and they sure aren't supposed to be our mommy or daddy. This whole Trump is daddy, Kamala is mommy routine is embarrassing. Politicians aren't here to babysit us. They're supposed to defend freedoms, create opportunity, and keep the country strong. We don't need caretakers, we need leaders. But Drew plays right into the fantasy. And why? Because deep down, she's still that Hollywood child star who learned to perform, to say whatever gets applause. It isn't authenticity, it's survival. And that's exactly what makes this so sad.
When we lift each other up, we all rise. With the mouth quivering, just like the hideous to Dylan. Where do you find the strength to keep being the joy? Oh my God, she's too far gone. This is what happens when you become a Hollywood actress as a child. You lose your id. You don't know who you are. You're just floating. You're like the Martian, the astronaut disconnected from the spaceship. You're just adrift in space, untethered. You don't know who you are. Where do you find the strength to keep being the joy?
Let's not forget, this is the same Drew Barrymore who literally got down on her knees in front of Dylan Mulvaney. She bowed to woke ideology on live TV. And now, she's suddenly talking about how dangerous it is to share opinions. Dangerous for who, Drew? You weren't worried when conservatives were silenced. You weren't concerned when entire careers were destroyed. Back then, you were happy to cheer it on. The only reason you're suddenly nervous now is because the tide has shifted. Americans are over it. People are mocking woke culture, pushing back, and you can feel the change. That's why Drew is panicking. It isn't dangerous anymore to tell the truth. What's dangerous now is clinging to a narrative people are rejecting.
Okay, he's a sick person, Dylan Mulvaney. He, I believe, may have had his chopped off. He's taking massive amounts of hormones. He's pretending that he is something other than what he is. And I believe, and many others believe too, because he really wants to be famous. He's been wanting to be famous for many, many years. He wasn't able to make it as a man or a gay man or a non-binary man, and now has gone full Eloise. And that's something that you think is brave, and you celebrated it openly on your show and told others that they should too.
And let's be clear, Drew Barrymore didn't have a stable childhood. Hollywood chewed her up and spit her out before she was even a teenager. That kind of start leaves you confused, always chasing approval, always looking for the next script to follow. You can see it in her interviews. She's not grounded. She floats. She looks for the safe line that will get applause. But here's the problem with living that way. You end up pleasing no one. Megyn Kelly nailed it. She basically said, be yourself, no matter the crowd. If you've changed, own it. If you haven't, stop pretending. Right now, Drew just says whatever she thinks her audience wants. And that, my friends, is the definition of inauthentic. Worse, it's dangerous. She has a platform, millions of viewers. When she pushes woke talking points one day and then plays the free speech is dangerous card the next, she isn't just confusing. She's fueling the very culture that silences people. She is part of the problem.
Oh my God, this woman has a national platform where she's passing on this craziness to God knows how many viewers. And then we all need a mom? Like, how crazy is that? No, we don't. No, we don't. We all had a mom, believe it or not. Some were good, some weren't great, some were amazing. I'm lucky enough to be in that category. I certainly don't need my politician to be my mom, okay? Not at all. We joke about Trump being daddy because that NATO Secretary General referred to him as such. And it's sort of a joke, like dad's home. He's not actually our dad. And by the way, I lost my dad when I was young. Never have I actually thought Trump was my daddy. And Kamala is not our mommy.
Here's the kicker. Maybe she hasn't changed at all. Maybe the whole performance on Bill Maher's show was just that, a performance. Think about it. She knows his audience isn't friendly to woke politics. So what does she do? She tones it down. She smiles. She nods. She pretends to get it. But do we really believe she's had some great awakening? Or was she simply tailoring her act to the room she was in? Given her history, it looks a lot like an act.
Now she wants to get away with, on Bill Maher, saying it's too dangerous to say how you really feel. About what? You are the one who's been fueling the fire that you now seem to be calling dangerous. I mean, just like the hypocrisy. Be yourself at a minimum in front of all crowds, okay? If you've changed, then own that. Own how you've changed, how you've seen the error of your ways. You won't be kneeling down to the transgender cult anymore. And I'll listen to you. A lot of people have evolutions. I will listen to you. Right now, I think you're just saying what you think you need to say to be popular with Bill Maher's audience.
And while we're on the subject, let's talk about Bill Maher's point about The View. He's right. Whoopi Goldberg and Joe Scarborough are hardly the best advertisements for women in politics right now. Their takes are often bizarre and completely disconnected from reality. Whoopi has practically turned woke nonsense into a routine, while Joe can't go 2 minutes without dragging Trump into the conversation like some political ghost story. This is why people don't trust mainstream talk shows anymore. They're not about truth or thoughtful debate. They're about pushing a narrative. And audiences are tuning out because they're tired of being lectured.
Here's another comment by Bill on some ladies on The View, SOT 31.
I love Whoopi and Joe. Those are the two I really know. And I did it like a year ago, and I liked everybody, but like I don't know if they're really, at this moment, the best advertisement for women. They just...
It's a format, that show.
They say some things that are just like not helpful, like say to elections. I mean, it's just,
Yeah, they actually are sitting on the floor. And still, she wasn't able to say what's real.
So here's where this all lands. Drew Barrymore had a chance, a golden opportunity to show growth, to admit past mistakes, to say something real. Instead, she dodged, hid behind vague language, and looked more lost than ever. Megyn Kelly, she called it exactly as it was. At the end of the day, people don't want Hollywood doublespeak. They don't want empty performances. They want honesty. They want authenticity. They want leaders who say what they mean, even when it's controversial. And Drew failed that test. Unless she learns to own her opinions, whatever they are, she'll keep drifting further into irrelevance. But that's just my take. What do you think? Do you believe Drew Barrymore is genuinely changing her views? Or is she just playing whatever role she thinks will get applause? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who needs to see through Hollywood's smoke and mirrors. Because this story isn't just about Drew. It's about all of us, and whether we're willing to stand up for what we believe in, even when it isn't popular.